What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the RPG podcast. I'm joined right now by the good friend of the podcast and co-host. We'll call David a co-host at this point.
Yeah,
David Latham over at Last Word on Sports. David, how you doing, man?
doing great. Happy to be here.
Well, fantastic. We brought David in as an assassin here for this JK Dobbins talk. You know, he's this hitman trying to put out this piece, and he knows everything there is to be about the Bears football team, right?
Oh yeah, Born Bears. Actually, not true at all. Patriots fans, but like everyone else, I was pretty surprised when I found when the NFL draft came and went, and DeAndre Swift was still atop the Chicago Bears depth chart. Going into the draft, everyone was saying, "Oh, the Bears want to trade up for Genty." That didn't happen, obviously. But day two, I thought for sure they would have used one of their picks on any one of the very talented running backs that were available at the top of the second. They ended up going Luther Burden. They didn't draft anyone till the seventh round, which looked like a ringing endorsement for DeAndre Swift. Now, there's rumors everywhere that JK Dobbins will be signing with the Chicago Bears. Obviously, nothing's official yet, but Ian Rappaport tweeted about it. There's been a few articles out on ESPN either alluding to a signing or suggesting it as something that's going to come. So, in terms of fantasy football, especially in Dynasty, you need to be looking ahead. Evan, if JK Dobbins goes to Chicago, what's he going to do there?
Man, all right. So let's start off with just how cheap you can get JK Dobbins right now. If you've seen some of our previous videos, let's go over to Dynasty Data Lab here. We'll share the screen in a second. And there we go. All right. So JK Dobbins coming off as the 173rd pick right now in startups. Obviously, when a player's in the news, they're going to go up in ADP just because they're mentioned. They're fresh on people's minds. So realistically, if he signs with the Bears or if he signs anywhere, honestly, at this point, you will see that ADP rise. Currently RB50. Man, if you're telling me he's going behind Isaac Guerendo, going behind Rashad White, Dylan Sampson, Jordan Mason, Devin Neal, Braylon Allen, I mean, we just saw what he did this past season with the Chargers. So, yeah, I mean, there's a ton of upside there. You look at the offensive line and what the Bears did with this offensive line this past season. We're talking a complete overhaul of the interior offensive line. And going over here to PFF really quickly and looking at it, they added Joe Thuney, Pro Bowl guard who happened to play a little bit of tackle for the Chiefs last season. They have Darnell Wright still under contract. They brought in Drew Dahlman, a very good run blocking center. They still have Braxton Jones at tackle. The other guard position is a little questionable. Jonah Jackson's had some trouble staying healthy. But when you're just quickly looking at these PFF scores, anything over a 70 is good for PFF. Like that is what you're wanting to see. And we got Thuney at a 74, Darnell Wright at an 82.2, Drew Dahlman at a 79.8, Braxton Jones at a 70.2. Realistically, this is on paper a good run blocking offensive line. You throw that together with the system that Ben Johnson's going to be bringing in and the pass catchers. Like, how does a defensive coordinator, David, defend against this team?
I genuinely have no idea because Caleb Williams, did he live up to the hype as the first overall pick, supposedly generational quarterback prospect? No, he didn't. Daniels was better than him. May was better than him, but he still looked like this guy's going to last in the league for a little bit. He did it with a poor coach, and he did it with an offensive line that I think Williams made it look a bit worse than it was, but it still wasn't good. Now you give him maybe the best offensive mind in football. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Luther Burden. He's got Colston Loveland as a top 10 pick for a tight end. Things are looking fantastic for this offense. I'd want as many pieces of it as I can get.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the offense could be explosive. The defense is solid too. I mean, they could get turnovers. They could get 3-and-outs pretty regularly. Look at them to be able to make some plays, give this offense short area, short yardage to be able to work with. You pair that up with a running back room of DeAndre Swift potentially if he sticks around. probably would if JK comes there, because JK has had his injury problems of his own. But look, we understand looking back at past production does not predict future results. Totally understand that. But if we go over to Fantasy Pros here really quickly and bring up the PPR data from last season, JK Dobbins with the Chargers, 14.8 points per game, pretty dang solid. 14.8 is probably going to put you in that flex territory. For somebody that you are basically getting for free currently, if you want to take a swing on somebody that has upside to provide starting potential for you, just go for it. I mean, even if you give up a 312, like a 307, because people know the name JK Dobbins, they're going to ask for more than what his current fair market value is based off of most trade calculators. So you're going to have to give up a little bit of premium. But when JK is out there on the field, he is a dynamic athlete, even after the injuries that he's had. And then you go up here to DeAndre Swift, 12.6 points per game. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to tell me JK Dobbins is going to get anywhere close to 250 carries, holy crap. Like, that is a fantastic running back that you got for incredibly cheap. Now, David, do we project JK Dobbins to go for that much if he were to be on the Bears? I know I personally don't. I would not be expecting anything more than that 195 range, that 175 to 195 range that he got with the Chargers last season. But I think he could be more efficient of a running back, pushing that 5 yards per carry total if he were to go to the Bears.
I'd agree with that. Dobbins, Ben Johnson, just based on his time in Detroit, doesn't seem like the type of guy who wants to really use one workhorse back. He did that with Gibbs at the end of last year because Montgomery got hurt. But in his perfect world, he has two reliable running backs, and he uses both pretty, in and out. And everything we've seen from what he's done so far with the Bears is basically just him saying, I want to take what I did with the Lions, bring it over to Chicago. There's no, further nuance here. He's not trying to prove himself away, doing something completely different. He knows what he's good at, and he's going to keep doing it. So it's probably going to be a two-back system. I expect Dobbins will be the lead back. I expect he'll be better than Swift, but if we're looking at overall production, Dobbins isn't going to be an RB1. Nobody's going to be surprised by that. But I think there's a pretty good window to a low-end RB2, which if you can get that for a season and all you're giving up is a mid to late third-round pick, make that trade now.
Yeah, if you want to take the risk, if you're a win-now team, look, realistically, on a win-now team, a mid to late third-round pick, that's not going to get you production. It's not going to get you points in this coming season. The odds of that is incredibly slim. Now, if you want to take a shot on JK Dobbins, what have we seen in the past? He's produced at a highly efficient clip. You do have injuries. That is something to remember. He is older older in the sense of running backs, we'll say. But he has the injury toll on him, which makes people think that he is older and more banged up than he actually really is. So people tend to get off of those players a little bit easier. They're a little bit more willing to move on. If you go over to Fantasy Calc here, shout out to our friends over at Fantasy Calc doing their dynasty rankings. It's pretty similar. We're looking at RB55 prices on Fantasy Calc over here. That's a little bit lower than it was on Dynasty Data Lab. So keep that in mind. Once again, trying to buy him for RB55 prices, it's pretty dang hard to do. But realistically, if you can get JK Dobbins on your team, you're getting a piece that David thinks could be a low-end RB2. I think could be a high-end RB3, especially if he's with the Bears. Now, keep in mind, there is plenty of volatility with this asset because he currently is a free agent. All right. There is that to keep in mind. So if you get to the season and you have him and say he's not on the Bears, don't fret. He's still an efficiency back. He doesn't need a ton of carries to be able to be a productive running back for a handful of games here and there. David, anything else that you want to say about JK Dobbins?
Not Dobbins himself per se, but let's talk DeAndre Swift for a quick minute. If this happens, what do you think of him? He's the RB30 on Keep Trade Cut right now. I imagine it's a similar ranking on Dynasty Data Lab, sites like that. That seems kind of high for me, even if Dobbins doesn't sign, just because reports say the Bears want to sign a running back. Dobbins is the best one left. But we know Ben Johnson and DeAndre Swift didn't get along all that well in Detroit. That's kind of a high price for me.
Yeah, honestly, it's too high of a price for me too, especially if you look at the fact that he got the lion's share of the touches last year in that backfield with 253 carries, highly inefficient, 3.8 yards per carry. And then you move over to his receiving metrics. Man, if you're going to tell me that somebody had 52 receptions, I'm going to think that they're going to be pushing 15 with 52 receptions, anywhere north of that 50. I'm going to think they're going to be pushing 15 fantasy points per game, especially if you tell me that they have 250 plus rushing attempts. He just didn't do it. He wasn't efficient. This offense, if DeAndre Swift stays around and they bring in another running back, is just going to be an absolute split. DeAndre Swift isn't the highly efficient back that we thought that he would be coming out of college. He never panned out exactly how we thought he was going to be. Had a couple of good weeks in there, had even a couple of good seasons, we'll say, in his profile and how he did it. But man, if you're going to tell me that any free agent running back with a somewhat decent pulse goes there, I would be expecting that fantasy production per game to dip in the 2025 season for DeAndre Swift, probably somewhere down to that 10.5 point range. That's what I would be projecting for him. So at that rate, no chance I would be touching him at his current prices.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate everybody sticking around until the end. And if you like this video, please please subscribe. We're working our way to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we greatly appreciate all the support. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the goblins get you.